It's October, which means 31 Days of Horror starts today. Don't know where to start? Well, we got you covered. Our list will bring you the best films, in our opinion, from the 1950s all the way up to today. If you want a copy of this list, you can find a link in the description which will give you a PDF version of our entire list so you can watch along with us. This is what we're going to be getting into during the month of October, and we are excited. There are some of our favorite films, some films we need to revisit, and most importantly, films that set the tone for spooky season. Before we jump into our list, welcome to Dread Alert. If you're new here, I'm Vince.
I'm Sarah.
And we cover horror across all forms of media. We have decades of experience as actors and directors, producers and writers, and a deep love of horror. So we're uniquely positioned to bring you an awesome list for 31 Days of Horror. All right, let's kick things off. On October 1st, we will be setting the mood for spooky season in the best way possible with 2007's Trick or Treat. This film features Sam, the pumpkin boy, as the spirit of Halloween. Sam Hain, if you will, or Samhain, if you're going to say it the right way. Sam enforces the rules of Halloween in various scenarios in this pseudo-anthology film, but what really sets this film apart is it has some of the most distilled Halloween vibes ever set to film, and we think it's a wonderful kickoff to your 31 Days of Horror and your spooky season.
On the 2nd, we will be watching Hellfest from 2018. This follows a group of friends who go to a theme park for a haunted house, and they are met with a slasher. This film may not be the best film on this list, but it certainly will set the vibes for you.
On October 3rd, we'll be watching 2018's Terrifier, and that kicks things up a whole notch. Terrifier is not for the faint of heart, but the reason we selected it so early in October is it features Art the Clown. David Howard Thornton, in his first performance as Art the Clown, is brutal, and he is a wonderful performer. If you get the chance to see him in anything else, like Stream, like on Sarah's shirt over here, take that opportunity. But you can't leave your house in October without seeing Art the Clown in stores and pretty much everywhere you go. So get caught up with Terrifier if you haven't seen it already. It's worth your time.
On October 4th, we are watching Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives from 1986. This movie is the introduction of Zombie Jason, played by the impeccable C.J. Graham. This film blends comedy and horror so masterfully, and I know that you're saying, why not the original Friday the 13th? It's really because we have a big soft spot for this film.
On October 5th, we have 1982's Halloween 3. Another film from the middle of a franchise that we love. We know this film's divisive, but it's getting a resurgence of interest lately, and it's sort of finding its own following. If you haven't seen it already, now is the time. If you've already seen it and didn't like it, give it another chance. And if you love it like we do, enjoy the Halloween vibes. It features some bewitched masks and a performance by Tom Atkins for the record books, even if he is playing kind of a jerk.
On October 6th, we will be watching 1988's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This movie is campy, it is fun, and it is big top energy. It is not super gory, so it is the perfect introduction for your non-horror loving friends to join you on this 31 days of Halloween.
On October 7th, we'll be watching 1999's The Blair Witch Project. Now, I was there. I remember the marketing campaign. I thought it was real. This found footage movie is the pinnacle of the subgenre. It's not the first found footage movie. It's not the last found footage movie. But it is my favorite found footage movie, which is why it makes our 31 Days of Horror list.
On October 8th, we will be watching 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is where it all began for Freddy Krueger and the introduction of Nancy, one of his best final girls. The reason this movie makes the list is that you can't possibly have a 31 Days of Horror without Freddy Krueger.
On October 9th, we'll prepare for the bloodbath with 2004's Saw. Another first in a franchise that I'm particularly fond of. Saw ushered in a wave of what people are calling torture porn. I don't know that I think that this movie is as graphic as folks make it out to be, and I don't know that the Saw films are as graphic as they are in your imagination. But this film is nice to revisit and see Jigsaw's first appearance.
Going from the first in a series to the second in the series, on October 10th, we will be watching 1990's Child's Play 2. This film is one of our collective favorites, and the reason that it's making this list is because we both love it so much. It may not be my personal favorite Child's Play, but I am willing to concede and watch Chucky at any opportunity.
On October 11th, we'll be sure not to say his name 5 times while we watch 1992's Candyman. Is there a film that has better lore and mythology surrounding it, and a film with a more subtle but totally direct social message? Candyman is one of my all-time favorite slashers. I think his story is moving and sentimental, and I think he is brutal and scary, and that's why he makes our list for 31 Days of Horror.
On October 12th, we are going to be watching 2007's The Mist. What would a horror list be without a Stephen King movie in it? This is a film that we have not seen for a while now, and we would love to revisit it. From what I remember, this film is very moody. It is filled with great performances, and that is reason enough for it to make our list this year. While the ending of this film differs from the Stephen King book, it is one of the bleakest endings in any horror movie, and probably of all the horror movies on our list this year.
On October 13th, we're celebrating a bit of an anniversary with the 50th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. Was there a film that jump-started a subgenre like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Leatherface is an icon, and while it may not be one of our favorite slashers, it certainly deserves its rightful place among the 31 films on this list.
On October 14th, we will be viewing 1987's Hellraiser. This Clive Barker movie is a classic, and Pinhead is one of the greatest horror icons of all time. Thanks in due part to Doug Bradley's performance in this film. I know it's one of a favorite of ours, and if you ever get a chance to meet Doug Bradley, I highly recommend it.
On October 15th, we'll have our first film from the 1960s with 1968's Night of the Living Dead, one of only 3 black and white films on our list. This film was the film that jump-started George Romero's career and allowed us to have all the awesome zombie or ghoul films that followed in the decades to come.
On October 16th, we will be watching 1990's The Exorcist 3. Very much like Halloween 3, this film is seeing a bit of a resurgence amongst horror fans and quite possibly has one of the best jump scares in all of cinematic history.
On October 17th, we'll be watching House of the Devil from 2009. This features a wonderful cast and a really spooky story about witches and full moons. It's gory and it's an 80s throwback film you don't want to miss, even though it is from the 2000s.
On October 18th, we will be watching 2018's Hereditary, a film that is full of fantastic performances and one of the most shocking deaths that we have ever seen in a horror movie, I think.
On October 19th, we'll be going to the giant cinema to see Scream, a film I have seen in theaters many times in my younger years in 1996, but it will be really nice to get back there and see it again. This is one of our favorite slasher films of all time. Not our number 1, but not far off.
On October 20th, we will be watching the oldest film on our list, 1959's House on Haunted Hill, featuring one of Vince's favorite performers, Vincent Price. This movie is going to have you wondering if you could spend a night in this haunted house.
On October 21st, we journey back in time with 2015's The Witch, or The Vivitch as we call it in our house. A wonderful period piece with a star turn from Anya Taylor-Joy. This film features one of our favorite antagonists, Black Phillip, the goat.
On October 22nd, we will be watching 1977's Suspiria. This is an Italian horror film that features witches in a ballet school. What could be better?
On October 23rd, we'll be rewatching a movie that we just watched for the first time, a movie we slept on for far too long, 2016's Hush. This film features one of the strongest final girls, a sadistic killer, and sound design that is to die for.
On October 24th, we will be watching 1960's Psycho. The film that arguably started the slasher genre, this film is a classic for a reason and should absolutely be on your list this Halloween.
On October 25th, we'll be watching our second Romero of the list, 1982's Creepshow. This has all of the wonderful Pittsburgh staples in it, with special effects from Tom Savini, a cameo from John Amplas, and an anthology style which speaks directly to my heart.
On October 26th, we will be watching 1996 The Craft, one of my all-time favorite movies. This movie made me feel good about being an outsider and a weirdo.
On October 27th, we'll be watching a film neither one of us has ever seen before, 2010's Lake Mungo. This film comes highly recommended, and I can't wait to see what all the buzz is about.
On October 28th, we will be watching Stream. We were lucky enough to see this film in theaters, and we are really excited for a rewatch.
On October 29th, we will be watching 2020's film, Caveat. I love creepy bunnies, I love spooky houses, and the premise of this film is enough to make your skin crawl. I can't wait to revisit this one.
On October 30th, we will be watching 1984's Gremlins, a film that I was too scared to watch up until last year. This film is now one of my favorites. It's a creature feature and also one that you could introduce to your tiniest horror fans.
On October 31st, Halloween. As is tradition in our house, we will be watching 1978's Halloween. Michael's my favorite slasher, and there is no better example of seeing Michael in action than the original Halloween from 1978. I can't wait for Halloween so I can watch this movie again. This is one of my favorite comfort movies. All right, that's our 31 Days of Horror list. Are you going to watch along with us? We hope so. If you are, let us know which film you're most excited about in the comments below. If you're not going to watch along with us, let us know why. Also, be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel, it really helps us out, and be sure to download our list by clicking on the link in the description for this video. And as always,
stay spooky, my friends.